it's still a bloody miserable June day. I mean, we're literally 2 days away from July and it hasn't stopped raining, and we actually put the heating on last night, believe it or not. Climate change is coming for us all. So what are these 955s like to ride compared to the old T595s and the T509s? Well, obviously we're going to compare it directly to the older Daytona. First thing I noticed is the wing mirrors. You can see far more through these than you could in the old T595. Sorry, I'm going all around the houses here because I'm a bit scared of the rain on the roads. I'm hoping you can see this all okay, guys. I'm hoping the camera's set up. I hate riding these kind of super sports bikes with a camera because you can never really see where the camera's pointing. So I'm hoping you can see all that. There's the gear indicator there as well. So as I said, you can see a huge amount through the wing mirrors, or the side mirrors as it were, which is a hell of a bonus. On any bike, I think you'll agree. I don't think this bike warrants bar end mirrors. I think it'd be bloody useless on it. It sounds glorious, as every Triumph triple does, of course. The seating position isn't quite as extreme as you'd think it would be, and this is what makes it so much fun. You know, it's a super sports bike that even old men like me can ride. If you've got a decent helmet which has got a decent field of view, you could ride this, you know, for a couple of hours without any real dramas, if all these buggers would get out of my way, of course. But yeah, incredibly comfortable considering it's a super sports bike, which is surprising. And as I said, you can ride these for a couple of hours without any real dramas. Let's get that visor down slightly. I'm just hoping it's not going to bloody rain on me, because it's been threatening to, as you can see by these puddles everywhere. And the last thing we want to do is drop this beautiful bike. And I've just washed it, so that's brilliant. Thank you for that. So we're going to do our usual thing, go up to our usual little spot up on the moor and take you for a little ride, tell you what I think there. Specs wise for this bike, well, it is actually the much improved, some would say, version of the T595 in the respect that it's faster, it's lighter, it's more nimble. The frame has been shortened by about 1 inch from what I remember. It's got a double-sided swinging arm instead of the original single-sided swinging arm, which apparently saves about 3 kilos. There's a huge amount of weight saving going on, generally speaking, with this updated model of the Daytona, and the horsepower has been increased as well. I'll stick all the figures up on the left-hand side of the screen now compared to the T595, then you can have a look at that, because obviously I don't have a sheet of paper with me right now to be able to tell you. It's a lot smoother as well, in my opinion, than the T595. I'm not quite sure if that's just because of the mileage, it's been serviced very well, or if it's just the new engine, of course, because they did update quite a lot of the engine. I mean, if you really want to know the ins and outs of what they did on this updated Daytona, you really need to Google that, because I'm not here to tell you all that, I'm afraid. I'm just here to tell you what it rides like, and it rides beautifully, as you would expect. It's got a Micron exhaust. If you saw the first video, you'll see that it's got a Micron exhaust on it. If I had managed to do what I planned on doing a restoration on this bike, I probably would have tried to get the original exhaust back on it, simply because I wanted it to be more original. As you can hear, that exhaust, it sounds pretty fruity. It's not something that would get on my nerves, let's put it that way. I mean, any exhaust on a triple Triumph is going to sound bloody awesome, in my opinion. They're just such great bikes. I mean, you know I'm a Triumph fanboy. If you've been following the channel for a while, you know that they're probably my go-to bike, truth be told. But we do have something else on the way. That'll be coming up in the next couple of weeks, I think. Something quite special. As I said in the first video, I've been waiting to buy one of these special bikes for about 5 years, so I'm so glad I've managed to get one. And it's the only reason I'm getting rid of this bike is because I did such a good deal with the dealer on a Part X for the bike I'm going to get. It was just stupid not to. I probably, in truthfulness, could have got more if I had done all the work myself and then sold this bike, because as I said, these tend to be around about 2.5 grand with, say, 20,000 miles. This is done under 7,000 miles, so it's very, very unique in that respect. The only other one I've seen even close to this mileage wise was one that's done about 4,500 miles, I think, and that was up at 3,995, so you can see the value. I'll get off in a minute and I'll tell you exactly what we paid and how the deal worked out and all that kind of stuff. At the moment, I would like to say I'm trying to enjoy this ride, but as you can see, these roads are bloody diabolical, so riding on roads like this isn't my idea of fun, especially on a bike that you've provisionally sold. But bearing in mind, this is the first ride of the bike. As I said again in the first video, I had it delivered. I obviously went to see it first, then I had it delivered very kindly by the previous owner, so I hadn't actually had a chance to get out on it. But just like I remember my original Daytona, this is just awesome. I mean, even on a wet day like this, it's just such a lot of fun. Nothing not to like. As usual with the Triumphs, of course, the brakes are sublime. It's got stainless steel braided lines on there. which obviously do help quite a lot, but the brakes on pretty much every Triumph I've ever owned have been just ludicrously good compared to pretty much any other bike manufacturer, bearing in mind their stock brakes. The only exception to that would possibly be the Bonneville T120 Black, of which I've had two, and we just did a review and a modification series on that. If you haven't checked that out, I'll stick it in the right hand corner. Obviously the dash has been very much updated on this new era of the Daytona. We've now got a lovely white analog with digital. I'd love to open this up for you guys, but as you can see, the road is bloody diabolical. See if we can't get a little bit up here. Such a lot of fun. I mean, the torque on these is just sublime. I love these bikes so much. One of my favourite engines on any bike that I've ever owned is the 955i. Yeah, as I said, the dash has been upgraded. I'm trying not to put too many miles on this because I don't want it to go over 7,000. But it's not gone crazy, you know. It's got the idiot lights, it's got the digital readout, and it's obviously got the analog rev counter there, which gives you everything you need to know. There's a clock on here as well to tell you the time, the temperature. Everything you need to know is here, nothing more, nothing less. These sheep freak me out so much every time I come up here. I think one of them is going to jump out on me. The one thing I would say is if you don't ride bikes very often, like I don't tend to ride bikes that often anymore, especially in Cornwall during the summer of 2022, because it's pissing down constantly. I mean, look at that. That's July almost. You can see that big rain hoofing across there. That's I hope I don't get caught in that. Yeah, as I was saying, the one thing you'll notice if you're a guy like me who's maybe getting on a little bit but doesn't ride that much anymore, it's the pain you get in your neck, because obviously a lot of you is canted forward on this style of bike, and you will feel it. I mean, we've been on it for what, less than 5 minutes, and already I'm starting to feel it in my traps, in my shoulders, and a little bit in my wrist. I think once you go past the age of, say, 40 years old, getting a bike like this is maybe not conducive to your well-being on a longer ride at least, but there's just so much fun. It's ridiculous. You cannot have this much fun for this much money. I'm going to jump off now and I shall tell you exactly what I mean by this much money. So here it is again then, after our first ride out. What do I think of it? I love it. You know I'm a Triumph fanboy, guys, by now, surely. And this is no different to any other Triumph I've ever owned. I absolutely love it. If it was the sit-up and beg version, obviously I would ride it a lot more. In other words, if it was the Speed Triple. By the way, we've done a couple of videos on the Speed Triple 955. I'll stick them in up here. But as I said earlier on, for a guy of a certain age who doesn't ride too much and his muscle memory from riding bikes has gone a little bit, these are hard work. I mean, as I said, after 10 minutes, I can feel it in my shoulders and in my wrists, not so much in my back. But it's just so much fun. You almost forget that, if I'm honest. This is going to be such a hard decision to let this go, if I'm honest, because I paid so little for it and it's done so little miles. I think it's probably one of the lowest mileage bikes I've ever owned, apart from my first T120 Black. Again, another Triumph. But everything has a price and everything must go. How much should I pay for this? Well, as I said, it's not moved in 10 years apart from an MOT and the odd oil change, and it's been sat in a barn, ergo it's a barn find. I paid 1,600 quid for this. I know, really? £1,600 delivered to my door. So you can actually call that 1,500 quid. I'm going to say it cost 1,500 quid because it would have been 100 quid to deliver it. So what, 1,500 quid, 1,600 quid to your door? You can't get that kind of value anywhere else on any other manufacturer, especially not under 7,000 miles. And then look at it. Isn't it just a stunning, stunning piece of machinery? Bearing in mind it's 20 years old, it still looks as modern as a lot of these other bikes are out there. It's a beautiful super sports bike with that Micron exhaust, the high one as well. That looks just really nice. You don't need to start fanning about and putting LED indicators and all that kind of crap on here. You just leave this as it is. Needs a seat cow, but we'll talk about that another time. And it just needs a little bit of cosmetic work. There's one little scratch just here. There's a couple of tiny little scuffs on that back cowl there. That's it. There's nothing else really to say about this bike. We looked at it cosmetically in the engine and what we had planned to do on that on the first video. Go back to that if you wish. But as I said, 1,600 quid. It's a comedy show, really, isn't it? How good this is. The one thing that I forgot to mention on the first video is that I took the pad that came on here, one of those plastic kind of moulded Triumph pads, and look what I found. Lovely. But we're going to put that back on and we're going to polish out these little bits here, and that's going to be fine. I've been trying to find this sticker as well, so if you know where to find one of them, give me a shout. But that's it. I mean, it's got a couple of little scuffs here. That's probably from somebody's jacket, I imagine, and they've touched it in, but the tank pad will cover all that up. You'll never see it. I didn't see it when I bought it, so that just proves that point, doesn't it? But as I said, you cannot find better value for 1,600 quid, 7,000 miles, well, just under 7,000 miles, and in pretty good order, it has to be said. The only thing it needs is new bolts on the clutch and stator side, and probably take the stator cover and the clutch cover off, repaint them, pop them back on, job's done. You're looking at a day's work, really, and then it needs an MOT. It's done 6 miles since the last MOT. It had no advisories. Why would I think it would fail? It won't fail. Of course it won't bloody fail. It's a Triumph. So, overall, very, very happy with this bike. Wish I could keep it. Wish I could ride it. I mean, as I said, when I had my first one, I was about 8 years younger, and, you know, I wasn't quite so stiff and aching all over the place. Even after 10 minutes, it's proven to me that I can't ride bikes like this. But I did buy it for an investment. I wanted to do a project with you guys for the channel. I wanted to show you what you can get for your money, what's out there. It's my first ever barn find bike, and I think you'll agree it's a bloody bargain. I have done a deal, as I said in the first video, with a trader for a bike that I really, really want, so I can't keep it. I'm still making good money on it, but I haven't had to do anything. So that's a bonus, I suppose, in that respect. Plus, I get a bike I really want, which is more of a sit-up, and look out for that. At some point, I'll stick it in up here, obviously, because time will go on, and it'll be uploaded onto the channel. But that's it for this. This is the Daytona 955, the updated from the T595, which we've already done, and I hope you've seen. And we were going to give it a lovely restoration, but now we're just going to appreciate it for what it is and just smile at the fact that it was 1,600 quid to the door, and you cannot find that kind of value anywhere else. If you haven't subscribed, guys, please consider doing that. Give the video a thumbs up, a like and a share, all that good stuff. Follow me on Instagram as well if you would, and we've got a Facebook page as well, all called Budget Cars and Bikes, so follow me on both of those if you would. As I said, the Instagram page, if you follow me on there, you'll get sneak peeks, because I put this up on Instagram weeks before I did this video. So, you know, if you want to see what's going on in real life, as it were, you know, up to date and not wait for videos, you can, as I said, follow me on Instagram and you'll see sneak peeks. Plus, we do a few projects on there as well. I'll show you how to do stuff and what I've done to fix things and polish things and all that kind of good stuff. So follow me on Instagram, follow me on Facebook, give the video a like, subscribe if it's of any interest to you at all. I really would appreciate that, and wait for the next video and we will see what we've got there to review for you. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I hope it helped, and I hope it was enjoyable. Take care now. Thanks a lot.